Yeah.
All right.
Whenever you talk.
A number of years ago, I was diagnosed with a melanoma
Uh-huh.
in the area of my sinuses, below the brain
Mm-hmm.
and sinus. The oncologist recommended I go to a Korean doctor in New York who recommended that he operate on me. He thinks he can remove the melanoma without physical damage.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what is involved? He said, the breaking of your nose, removing all the nose bones
Mm-hmm.
away so we can go into the area and remove the melanoma. What is the prognosis? He said, you can't tell. You have melanoma stage 3.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. We went down to Beth Israel Hospital, and a cousin of mine, who's a specialist at Beth Israel, was in the operating room. And he spoke to the anesthesiologist afterwards. He said, it doesn't look good. It's not spread, but it's a dangerous place, and see what happens. About 3 or 4 weeks later, I went back to my oncologist, and she called my wife and children and told them, take a trip. He doesn't have more than 6 months. At the same time, I was taking the recommended radiation,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to Montefiore Hospital where I met my dentist, who told me, well, he had cancer as well, was under treatment, and he told me about a seminar he was having with a group of Chinese specialists doing exercises and meditation in my neighborhood. So I went and I met Dr. Huo at that time with another gentleman,
Yeah.
who played a recording, reviewed the exercises, and reviewed on the charts the methodology of the energy protocol that they were promoting. I took a tape there. I went back to the oncologist, who shook her head, and all right. In the meantime, another week or two went by, and the cancer had metastasized to my lungs and liver. But I continued doing the exercises every day, the meditation every day, listening to the tape every day, and I went back to the oncologist again a month later, and they examined me, and they saw that the tumors in the liver, the lungs and liver had shrunk, and they couldn't understand why. I was on a medication called interferon,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't understand how it shrunk so quickly. Another couple of months went by, and the cancers had disappeared. Again, the doctors couldn't understand.
Yeah.
They said, well, the interferon did it. I said, maybe, but I think the confidence I had in doing the exercises and the meditation, which I still do today, had an effect. A number of weeks ago, I went to for a consultation at Long Island Jewish Medical Center to examine. He was a cancer man who worked with a new oncologist of mine, who referred me to him to see if her diagnosis of because of my histories of cancers, bladder cancer and everything, he would have a more up-to-date diagnosis. I went to him, and the nurse was looking at my records, and she says, well, you didn't have a melanoma. You had something else. I said, well, I don't care what I had, but this is what's in the chart. And she looked at the chart and said, you're right. You did have a melanoma. You're a walking miracle. I said, well, it's very nice of you. I want to continue being a more and I belong to a country club, and they think it's fantastic because 10 years ago this happened. They saw me 10 years ago. I was pale.
Yeah.
And
I still remember, yeah.
Unbelievable. And they see today that I'm active, although not as active as I'd like to be. So I'm back here looking for the great miracle again. Since that time, I developed arthritis in my lumbar region, which was not cancerous. I had herniated discs. I have a polyneuropathy, which is called peripheral arterial disease that I'm trying to get aid with, and that's why I'm here today.
Okay. Thank you for finally sharing your story. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to help lots of people because right now the people that complain don't have time. They have problems, they don't have time to practice. So I think you're a good example.
Yeah, you have to keep up. However, your attitude and your mental attitude toward having the ability to cure yourself.
Yes, that's very important. Yes.
Is very important. That's 90% of the effort that you have to continue, and even though progress is slow, you wake up sometimes and you're very discouraged because you're not, keep up. And your family is very important.
Yes.
That they give you support
Yes.
in what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's what it is. So I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Take care.
Put an escalator on those steps.
No problem.